January 12, 2010, Haiti collapsed under a deadly earthquake. 200,000 people lost their lives. On top of that, between $8 and $12 billion were lost in cumulative GDP. When the international community saw that, they came to the rescue of Haiti. Between the multilateral organization, the bilateral organization, foreign governments, they have pledged over $12 billion to rebuild Haiti. The former president, Bill Clinton, and the former Haitian Prime Minister, Jean-Marc Believe, they were in charge of this fund. I mean, you would think 12 billion lost, 12 billion pledged, Haiti should at least be at the same place it was before the earthquake. What they didn't see coming was the unintended consequences of all of that aid that comes in forms of donations. When all of that goods donated hit into Haiti, it definitely had some negative impact on the businesses and also on the economic situation of Haiti. A brand new hospital that was inaugurated couple months before the earthquake, when the foreign doctors came in, instead of partnering with this brand new hospital, they went around it and start their tents and start providing health care. Don't get me wrong, it was a well-needed service. It was pretty overwhelmed when I was on the streets to see so many people need so many help. So those doctors, foreign doctors, were definitely helping, but they did so without the cooperation of the local hospital. Jacqueline Clammer and myself, we interviewed an interesting gentleman. His family owned a soap company. And after the earthquake again, the United Nations brought in over $50 million of soap and soap substitute all at once. And after just a few months, his company went out of business. Complete loss. Another friend of mine who manufactured over-the-counter medicines in Haiti, he had a brilliant idea to start a hand sanitizer line into his business. Well, when all the free hand sanitizers were starting to come into the economy, he had to shut down that line. And you name it, backpacks, medicines, school supplies, any kind of product you can think about, there was an NGO that was bringing that for free and distributed into the economy. Who can compete with free? The refusal for the NGOs to work with local businesses, they did so they advanced different reasons they didn't do so. The first reason, they thought, well, the local products were too expensive. They didn't want to just buy more from the Haitian businesses. The second reason, they thought the quality and quantity were not there. And they wanted to bring more quality goods from outside of the country. The third reason, they thought the businesses were not communicating enough. And the fourth reason, they thought the delivery time was inappropriate and were not up to standard. Well, when you think about this, the discussion about foreign aid is very polarizing. On one side, you have a lot of different people advocating for foreign aid, like Bono. And on the other side, you have people who think foreign aid simply doesn't work. Well, there's a reality in between. The year of 2010, when the earthquake hit Haiti, there was over $230 billion that came from the developed countries to the developing countries. $230 billion. Of that amount, just 1% made it to the developing countries. After the earthquake, of all the USAID money, just 1.6% made it to Haiti, was spent in the local businesses of Haiti. So basically, even President Bill Clinton admitted on the media that 50% of foreign aid never leave the United States. At the same time that some developing countries like Haiti and many different countries in Africa, like Republic Democratic of Congo, etc., République Centrafricaine, are using aid as a strategy. 1 billion of people have been risen out of poverty in the last 20 years, mainly because of entrepreneurship and private investment. Mainly because of private investment. And when you compare two different countries, for instance, Haiti and Dominican Republic, after the Hurricane Hazel in the 50s, the American Red Cross moved into Haiti with the intent to help people rebuild their lives. And since then, it was a floodgate of NGOs that come and install and help people in Haiti. Well, that model of NGO became the default model of Haiti for long term. Whereas the Dominican Republic, our neighbor, our eastern neighbor, they went into rebuilding their lives and focus on rebuilding infrastructure and in creating a conducive environment for businesses can be created and towards economic progress. Two different paths, two different strategy, two different results. Just last year, the budget for Haiti, the total budget for the country was about $2 billion. In the Dominican Republic, it was $17 billion. What a difference. Business and private investment works. Foreign aid doesn't. That's been proven over and over and over. So, there are different questions that are being asked today. What can we do? There are 4 different things that NGOs can do to help the economy. First thing, they have to embrace the local system and buy from businesses. They cannot create a parallel system and bypass the economic structure that exists in those countries. They have to embrace it and make more transactions to create economic values into the societies. They have to buy as much as they can into those countries. The second thing they have to do is to share the lesson learned from those transactions. Let other people know that it is possible, it is reasonable price, and share the difficulties or the challenges encountered when they do such transactions. The third thing they should do is to help those countries build infrastructure to help spread those messages. I'm talking about online network systems and on-site system and different email messages that needs to be built to share and connect the different actors into the economic framework. And the last thing they should do, and they really need to do this, is to help connect with private investors. This is the only and best way they can run themselves out of a business. And I know countries like Guatemala or different countries like Africa are suffering from the influx of foreign aid that comes in different kinds of forms. When that happens, 2 things happen. It prevents new businesses from being created because the foreign products that is being donated into the economy make it impossible for businesses to pursue opportunities. So they clutter the entrepreneurial space. The second thing they do is they compete with existing businesses within the economy. When you have that, no wonder why the economy of Haiti would not progress, because there's too many obstacles and problems that we have in there. There are 3 country killers in the world. In all of the countries that I have studied and I've traveled to all over the world, there are 3 different country killers that I identified so far. And those are very common into all of the developing world. The number 1 is political instability. No country that has political instability has made it to progress. That hasn't existed, and I don't think it will exist. The second country killer is corruption. At this moment I'm talking to you right now, there's a session in the Haitian parliament about the Petro-Caribbean money being ill-managed by the leaders back then. And you will see immediately when you travel to different countries that the countries that are poor are also corrupt. I'm talking about the countries that made it last to the corruption index. And you will see countries like Nigeria, Haiti, Iraq. So the relationship between corruption and economic development is very close. It's a close relationship. And the last thing that we identify as a country killer is foreign aid. No country has made it out in progress with foreign aid. That does not exist, and I'm not sure it will exist. Just because foreign aid is not an economic long-term. Foreign aid is simply a tool to help in the short term. It's not an economic plan that is designed to take country out of poverty. How can NGOs help? Because they are here, they have the most amount of resources, and they are well connected. First thing they can do, the first thing they should do, is to stay away from the entrepreneurial space. There are 4 different reasons, different categories that describe a complete entrepreneurial opportunity. The first one is there's a need. The need is followed by demand. There's people with a need, they need purchasing power to buy those products and services that they need. That's the first criteria for an opportunity, entrepreneurial opportunity, to be complete. The second aspect is not only there's a need and purchasing power, there has to be enough frequency. People have to consume those products enough that will sustain private investment. The other aspect besides the frequency, when studies is made, it has to verify whether or not that the cost per unit to make those products are inferior to the price plus a profit margin. And the last aspect to complete an entrepreneurial opportunity is if the cost of opportunity is lower when an individual will pursue other things. When all of these aspects are met with a product within a sector, NGOs should stay away from that as much as possible and leave the way for private businesses that have been proving to get countries out of poverty to move in and pursue those opportunities profitably and satisfactorily. That's one thing the NGOs have to do if they really want to help. The second thing they do, as soon as one of those criteria are not met and the entrepreneurial opportunity is not completed, they can go in and help in that sector, but they have to get out as soon as the sector has become more viable. And there's some specific tests and proof and study that can be done to prove at the same time that happens. So the story of foreign aid in the last 50 years, I don't know why people don't understand this. This is so obvious. People need work. In Haiti, over 98% of people you interview will tell you they need a job. And I can attest you, in all of those countries that I visited, poor countries, people need work. And foreign aid has not proven to provide that. And to today, I'll tell you something. Even the foreign countries, the developed countries that want to help Haiti, they focus on their private investment, foreign direct investment. The United Kingdom last year was the largest recipient of foreign aid of foreign direct investment in the world, the United Kingdom. Haiti last year only received $104.2 million in foreign direct investment. Dominican Republic, $2.5 billion. No wonder what the contrast is. There's more jobs, more businesses in the Dominican Republic because they attract foreign investment, and there's less opportunities in Haiti because we attract more foreign aid. In the Dominican Republic, again, the amount of foreign aid existed in there increased 9.2% last year. It's unbelievable. The comparison, the contrast that exists within those two systems, it cannot be denied anymore. The European Union countries, for instance, they increased their foreign direct investment last year by 21%. The OECD countries that exist, they increased their foreign direct investment by 6%. And all throughout Latin America, their countries realized that to increase their GDP, to increase the living condition of their citizens, they have to attract as many private investment as possible. Private investment leads to business creations leads to job creations, and leads to increase and improve income situation. What does that leave us, the poor countries? What message can we learn from this? We want jobs. Jobs come from businesses. Businesses is the result of private investment, but we don't have that. We have foreign aid. So that's why today we started all these movements in Haiti. We started the 100K jobs movement as a way to bring the attention of all the communities, the government, to focus the attention on what's the most needed, jobs. There's no better things in the world than jobs. President Ronald Reagan said that. He said, the best aid in the world is job, job, job. Is G-O-B. You cannot help somebody indefinitely. But we have foreign aid. We have to think innovatively of how we will transform that foreign aid that is a liability into ways that it will support the private sector and businesses instead of derailing it. That's the first strategy. The second strategy we need, as in the developing countries, we need to find a way to help with the corruption problems. That requires a lot of different strategies, a lot of different actions. So when we started the 100K jobs, it was a way to bring together all those actors to think strategically how we can combine all these resources to bring an improvement in the conditions of living of the citizens there. We also started a movement called Buy Haitian, Restore Haiti, to help the NGOs understand that they cannot operate into the country by ignoring the economic system. And also, they have to be understanding of the difficulties, challenges, and work with different actors to solve this. No countries has ever gotten better on foreign aid. All of the countries that has done better so far, they have done so with the help of private direct investment. So today, when you guys think about poor countries, developing countries, I'm challenging you to think of it in the sense of private investment. When you travel to the developing countries, I challenge you to see what business opportunities would grow there. I challenge you to understand and learn about economic realignment and economic progress. So today we are at a very crossroad in our history where not only this message needs to be shared within the developing world, but we need the developed world to understand that we want something else. We want something more, and we will not rest until the unemployment comes down to less than 20% in Haiti for the betterment of the Haitian people and all of the people in the developing world. Thank you.